What's up guys, Mr. SLIN here with another video about competitive TF2. People often talk about how they wish Valve would put money behind the tournaments in the TF2 scene. They look at other games that Valve makes like Dota and CSGO and how they have really large tournaments that have $250,000 prize pools, like $1 million prize pools, $20 million prize pools like the international. And they're like, why can't TF2 have the same thing? Why can't Valve put just a small amount of money, like $50,000, into one of these TF2 tournaments like the I-50, the I-58 or whatever it is, and say, like, why don't we put money into that? And that would grow the competitive scene. And the problem is that when you invest a lot of money into a tournament like that, you need to see some kind of return. It's a big marketing stunt. You have this huge tournament, gets a lot of people interested, they watch, they go home and they want to imitate the pros, or they think it looks like fun, they want to try it themselves, and so they boot up their favorite game, Team Fortress 2, and they try and hop into the matchmaking and try and imitate that. The problem is the matchmaking game that TF2 has right now is awful. It just sucks. A lot of people don't like playing it, and you're seeing it in the player numbers. Not a lot of people are playing the in-game matchmaking. I come home on a Friday night and I want to play some competitive TF2. I'm not going to boot up my game and open up matchmaking. No, what I'm going to do is open up my browser, go to my favorite pug service like, PugChamp or TF2 Center, and I'm going to queue up for a game through there, or even face it. Yeah, I'm going to queue up through one of those services and not through the first party services that Valve has created. And that's kind of embarrassing for Valve, that people would rather play somewhere else than on the first party services that they've created for their users. And it really makes you wonder, like, who they designed that game for. And I know that they put a lot of time and resources and thought into developing this matchmaking system. So I'm not here to trash Valve for, creating this system. What I want to do is give some feedback and suggestions as to how I think Valve could improve the matchmaking system and make it more enticing for people to play. I've noticed that the game itself doesn't seem to be designed for the right kind of person. When you make a competitive matchmaking game, you want, like, who's the first person you think is going to play that game? Who's the first customer? Probably a competitive player. Like, it makes sense that a competitive player would most likely be the kind of person who would want to play your competitive matchmaking game. The problem is, the game that they've created is not the same game that competitive players like to play, and everyone kind of knows this. Like, the competitive scene likes to have class limits of 2 with class limits of 1 on certain really broken classes like Medic, Demo Man, Heavy, and Engineer. They like to have proper weapon balancing, and if you can't get that weapon balancing in competitive, they use weapon bans as a substitute. Not really ideal, but banning weapons is one way to get all the overpowered weapons out of the game. And they like to play with a system that gives them proper rewards. Right now, if you get to rank 18 in matchmaking, you can pat yourself on the back, but no one's really going to be proud of you. Trust me, I made it there to rank 18. I told all my competitive friends, they're like, who the hell cares that you made it to rank 18 in matchmaking? Nobody's impressed by that. And you get more value out of playing a really solid game of PugChamp in an invite pug and impressing your invite friends, so that way they, think that you're a really good player, and then they invite you to play on their team. You get more respect out of playing a good game on a third-party service than you do out of getting to the highest rank in the first-party matchmaking service. So Valve really needs to take a look at all that and really design a game that's fun at its core. If the game's not going to be fun for the competitive player, it at least needs to be fun for the casual player. And I don't even think they're really even targeting the casual player properly with this matchmaking game either. A lot of the classes in competitive TF2 are not really viable right now. So if your favorite class is, Spy, for example, you're going to have a really tough time playing at the highest levels of competitive TF2 just by the way that Spy is designed at this current point in time. Now, people do know that the really, really underpowered classes like Pyro and Heavy are due to get a rework in the next update, the next major update. But from what I'm hearing, if you guys watch that video from Valve News Network where they interviewed the TF2 developers, I'm not sure they're going to be making the right changes to Pyro and Heavy, the kind of complete rework that they need to make on those classes in order to make them very viable in competitive play. I'm worried that they're not going to make those kinds of changes, and they're instead going to just make small tweaks to the classes, give them a couple new weapons to kind of spice things up, but the class will remain mostly the same. So if you have a situation where the same 4 classes are dominant, Medic, Demo Man, Soldier, and Scout, if those 4 classes are still dominant, you're still missing 5 out of 9 classes that a lot of casual players are playing. And what is it the casual player really wants out of a matchmaking system? They want a system where they could just play and have fun with their friends, maybe get a couple kills, and have a good time. So again, you need to design a game that's fun at its core. Then you can introduce a couple other things like rewards, and suddenly you got yourself a really good system. You know, a lot of the things that Valve is targeting for the next update, like placement matches, like a really robust elo system where you get really evenly matched games, these things are definitely good for the matchmaking game, but I'm not sure that that's really hitting the main problem here. Sure, it sucks to get placed at level 1 and have to level yourself all the way from level 1 to 18. But if the game is truly very fun, you're going to put up with it. And a lot of games start very easy, progress to very hard. You know, any single player game you played or any matchmaking, you kind of start at the bottom and you work your way up to the top. So, you know, if you stomp some level 1 players on the way there, I don't see a problem with that. Sure, placement matches would alleviate some of the pain of having to do that and save you some time on your way to rank 18, but it's not really going to address the core problem, which is that no one's really playing the game. Again, I just really think that they can take a step back and look at the game itself and put some more effort into that matchmaking game. You spent all this time and money developing the system. Make a game that's good, right? Like, take a look at the classes. You're balancing the classes. That's good. Take a look at the class limits. Does anyone want to play in a game with 6 heavies there? Probably not. Like, I don't think anybody, casual or competitive player, wants to play in a game with 6 heavies. So there should be at least a class limit of 5, and that's just being pretty generous. Like, the obvious class limit number is 2, but even if you made it class limit 3, that seems pretty reasonable as well. And start to make those kinds of balances to really, like, make the game moving in the right direction. Also, the map pool that they've chosen, I think they've been experimenting, making some positive moves. They obviously found out that Turbine isn't that good, but you know, they just need to keep working on that. I just think competitive players in general don't find a map like CP Foundry to be very fun. I don't know why that's still in the rotation, right? And then, so once you've designed this like really fun game at its core, then there's like so many other things that exist in TF2 that you can use to blow that system up without a ton of money. And I think I'm really excited for that opportunity that TF2 has. I think the opportunity for rewards that TF2 has is really, really good because it already has a pretty robust in-game economy. When I play a game like Hearthstone, I get a reward for playing competitively. So I could be playing casually unranked all day, but if I play competitively, so there's 25 ranks in competitive Hearthstone matchmaking, and 25 is the bottom. If I make it to rank 20, I get a card back that I can show to other players to indicate that I played that season. And it's fun for a lot of people to collect all the card backs. I also get a card back for reaching the highest rank, which is past rank 1, there's another rank called Legend. If I reach rank Legend, I get another card back that I can show, and anyone in casual or competitive game modes can look at that and go, wow, that guy actually is a really good player. He might not be Legend of this season, but at one point in time, he hit Legend, and you got to be pretty good to make it there. They could totally do that with TF2. They could say, if you hit rank 18, you get this really dope-looking Death Merchant hat, and you wear that hat in a pub, and people just look at that and they go, damn, that guy's a baller, right? Like, that would be pretty cool. That would give me a reason to play to rank 18 and try and get there, and just to show that off. Right now, if I get to rank 18, I have a badge next to my name on the scoreboard, but people only see that when they're playing in the competitive game mode, so I don't get that reward transferred over to the casual game. And you kind of want to have those rewards that transfer back and forth. I think that's really good. So once you have a game that's really fun and a game with the right rewards, make that game really fun, easy, and approachable, easy to pick up and play. And when I say that, I think right now when you open the client for TF2, the top game mode is casual. They know that's their core audience is going to just try and play casual. But if you look at a game like Counter-Strike, there's a big button in there that's green that says play. And that's the button you click on because you know you're going to play some 5v5 Counter-Strike and not some sort of like 18 versus 18 gun game kind of thing. And I think that you need to make that game like really easy to just hop in and play. And I think they've done a pretty good job with that thus far. I think if that's one thing that Valve has done really well with the matchmaking is that they made it really easy to join in. You just simply open up your menu, click a button, and it's got like this pop-up that they still have for some reason, but you close the pop-up and then you can just click and you're suddenly in the queue. I think that's really approachable, and they've done a good job with that infrastructure, but you gotta have a fun game at its core. I'd rather play a game that's fun at its core with terrible infrastructure than play a game with really great infrastructure and terrible gameplay. And that's why I think people aren't playing matchmaking, and that's why people are playing PugChamp instead. But let me know what you guys think about this idea. How can Valve grow their matchmaking? They want people to be playing that. They obviously spent some effort building that. How could they grow that? I mean, I'd love to get to a point where the matchmaking is really, really fun and really, really solid. And then at a later point in time, we can have a TF2 international. People can watch that international, play for, even if it was like 100K, even if it was like 10K, I think that'd be sick. If it was like a TF2 international with 10K, that would be kind of cool. I'm sure people would play it. I'm sure people would watch, and then you go home and you play some matchmaking. That's what we all want. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.